Over the last couple months, Halo's had a different couple of variety of challenges to play Halo in a different way that no one's ever seen before, with the Moist Critical Challenge being Halo 2 Lasso Deathless with no envy, giving new players and even veteran players a different way to play Halo they've never thought of playing before. These different types of challenges are fun for everyone in the community, and it's cool to see every new strat that everyone comes up with. Ever since Halo released, people have tried to beat Halo without firing a single bullet, or also known as a zero-shot run. It has been done in multiple games, CE, Halo 2, Halo 3, and even Halo Reach, but no one's really attempted it in the game Halo 4. Halo 4 being the main game of speedrun, I was up for the challenge. Now, it's good to note that this challenge has been done before on the easy difficulty, but never been attempted on legendary ever. So if I did complete this today, it would be the first ever completion on the legendary difficulty. I streamed this over on my Twitch, so if you want to go follow me on Twitch to every other challenge that I'm going to be attempting in the future, link is going to be in the description below. But without a doubt, let's get on the way. Alright, right off the bat, we're going to start off on Dawn. We start off in the crowd too, waiting for Cortana to wake us up, and I was feeling pretty confident Dawn, as you don't have to kill any enemies to begin with anyway. We're going to run up to this elevator, go into the quick time event, and just run up the elevator. And as soon as we get to the top, we're just going to need jump out of bounds. It failed a couple times because I'm a little bit rusty, but since we get out of bounds, you can pretty much just run to the end of the mission, making that one mission out of 8 completed. No, every mission won't be as easy as Dawn, but this was just the start of a very hard challenge to come. With that all being said and done, my final Dawn time ended up being at 4:39, which was a pretty good time. But we were just getting started on this very hard challenge, as Requiem became my first encounter that actually made me question to do this. Right off the start, I was looking around for sticky nades. The more nades I have, the better of a chance I have to kill enemies. We're gonna run down this long Warthog run until we get into an open field with every enemy here. I was questioning what to do, but the strat I ended up coming with was to run down with the Warthog to spawn every enemy in, and to drive backwards and do a lasso strat that I know of from my lasso playthrough. You can deload all these enemies in the upcoming area if you just load them all in and then drive all the way back and hit a previous BSP load. So with that being said, I hit the load, drive back, and every enemy despawned. So now my next strat was to get into the ghost and then go through the small cave section and splatter every enemy on my way to load in all the next enemies in the next area. And yep, I did it again. I drove all the way back, hit the BSP load, called it a day. I drove all the way to the top with the ghost, splatter every enemy as I can. I did die a couple times in and out, but after the 4th or 5th try, I splattered every enemy, got on my ghost, meleeed the last guy, picked up the energy sword, and picked up the camo. Now it's good to note with the energy sword, I can actually use that as a weapon because it's not firing a bullet. So you're gonna see me use this throughout every level that has an energy sword, which is good to use. Now we're coming up on map room, which is the first main concern I had. But I did have the ghost, and there is a little glitch you can do to get the ghost into the map room, where if you press the button and get in the ghost at the same time, you'll get this weird cutscene, which is pretty funny. And you can use the ghost for map room. I drove over to each button, jumped out my ghost, pressed the pylon button, and then came back in my ghost and went to the next. As soon as I pressed the second one, I drove over to the enemy spawns, splattered every enemy I can, and sorted the last enemies alive. And with that being said, that was map room done without shooting. Now we're getting to the scariest part of the mission, which is Bridge. And Bridge is notorious for just being brutal. It has banshees, it has jackal snipers, it has just elites, it has plasma turrets. One thing to note is I kept my plasma grenade, which is really good because if you stick a plasma on a phantom anywhere, all turrets will blow up. So this phantom that comes in really close, I stuck the phantom and the turrets blew up so I can run past them. And since I have the energy sword out, when I get shot, I don't slow down. Because if you don't know, in Halo 4, if you get shot at any other weapon, you'll just slow down. Since I have the energy sword out, I just ran under the bridge and kept going through. My next challenge was this jackal sniper on the other half of the bridge, where my main goal was to try to stick him with a sticky grenade, but it just didn't end up working, and he sniped me a couple of times. But what I ended up doing was flanking all the way behind him, then killing him up top while hiding. It was pretty scary, not gonna lie, because of every enemy that was there. But at the end, I got in the Banshee and then flew all the way across past the rest of the bridge, and that was done with Bridge. We're still not out of the mission yet. This next part, even though it is kind of challenging, I hijacked the ghost and went to the end, and I missed the splatter on the elite. And if you don't know, once you hit that load, every enemy behind you despawns except for those 5 enemies that you're supposed to splatter, and I missed the splatter on the elite. But something really funny happened. I was trying to kill this elite, and when I went to splatter him, I ended up launching him up top, and the elite ended up killing me. It was kind of funny at the end of the day, but I reverted, did it again, and actually killed the elite this time, and then I just jumped up these rocks. I meleeed this like Covenant fusion coil downwards, ran up top so it despawned the hunters, and I just rode up the elevator, and that was Requiem done. So I beat Requiem in 17 minutes and 33 seconds. So I was feeling pretty good about this run. So the next level is Forerunner, and if you ever kept up a Halo 4 run or played any of the Halo 4 speedruns, you would know Forerunner is a pretty easy mission to speedrun. So first thing to note is when I load into the mission, I grab this auto sentry to my left, which is an armor ability where it spawns a little sentry, and it kills stuff for you, which is pretty unique, and it's going to help us. So I ran up to the first set of crawlers and meleeed the first crawler, dropped my auto sentry gun, and jumped on the button and ran up and did button jump. Now, if you've never seen a Halo 4 speed run, I'm basically just gonna run out of bounds until I hit the next section, which actually despawns all the enemies for me, so I don't have to fight anything, making this first section very, very, very easy. Now that I'm outside for first pylon, my first challenge came here. I ran inside to melee the first ball or core thingy, and I had to hide inside while all the crawlers looked at me, and it was pretty scary, honestly. I had both sides crawlers shooting at me when I was just trying to get my shields back. So I ended up just risking it and running down the middle, threw my nade at the right side core, and just prayed I didn't get shot at. I was very close to dying and don't know how I died. But once I made it up at top, I threw my second nade at the second core down there, and at the end of the day, I got to the elevator, and that was first pylon done. So now it's pretty much born up here. You just shut down a pylon, jump through the portal, go through another portal, and now we're gonna get to battle jump, which is on the way to second pylon, where there's the Covenant and Prometheans start shooting at each other for the first time. Pretty scary instance, but you can just jump up with these rocks and run past everything, and you can hijack this ghost over here to get into this other ghost, and you can just drive past everything until we get into this Banshee right here. And if you don't know this trick, we're just gonna fly over a barrier, fly back under a barrier, and we're back out of bounds again, and we can just fly into the pylon, and that is second pylon done. So we are flying through this mission. So I've run through the portal, and now the only set of enemies that you have to kill for this mission is right here. 4 grunt and a Covenant carbiner drop off, and I just dropped my auto sentry and I hide in the corner, and I didn't expect the auto sentry to kill everything, but the auto sentry got all 5 kills, and I was so surprised. I was talking to my chat about it. I was like, I didn't expect it to be that strong. But as soon as those died, hit the button on the left side, and I started running past everything. Backsmacked an elite, ran up top, backsmacked another elite, and just ran by everything. When I got to the second part, I waited for a checkpoint, and this part has a bunch of fuel rod grunts, a bunch of knights and everything, but it's pretty consistent if you take this general routing that I did. You can just run past everything, and then when I got up top, I did this little jump so the knights couldn't see me, and I hit the buttons, and we were done with Forerunner, and we just had the Ghost Run. Now, I'm not going to really explain Ghost Run. It's pretty much you get in the Ghost, and you drive straight in, so that's Ghost Run for you. And then we were done with Forerunner, and I beat Forerunner in 11 minutes and 2 seconds. And now we get to the mission that I was fearing the most, Infinity. And if you don't know, Infinity is probably the hardest mission in Halo 4, if not, it's up there. But it has so many combat sections. If you know anything about Zero Shot, combat sections are really not your friend. So without a doubt, I started Infinity and ran down the jungle. This first section, you don't have to kill anyone, and there's a cool despawn you can do here. If you just jump up these rocks like I do and jump out of bounds, and then you fall back in bounds, you actually miss a load, which that load spawns all the enemies in for this one section. So you can just run past everything here, and I made sure to grab 2 nades over here right by this IFF tag, and then I just ran up to this last IFF tag, hit it, and then we waited about 20 seconds to start the next combat section. So you're thinking to yourself, oh, that part's pretty easy. You're just gonna despawn all the enemies. Unfortunately, in the year 2023, there's no way to skip any of these combat sections yet. So here's our first major challenge. This next section has about 2 knights, a few crawlers, and a watcher. So I made sure to give my marine a DMR, and I kind of just YOLO'd everything. My marines were actually killing the crawlers, but I was trying to backspec the knights, and I ended up doing this whole like bottom first section first try, and I didn't think I would, which was absolutely insane. So after killing everything, I noticed that both my marines died, which was actually unfortunate, and I kind of felt sad, but that was the first combat section done. I didn't expect me to do it first try, and if you think I do the rest of the mission first try, spoiler alert, I do not. This is where the fun starts. I do this jump up this rock to make sure all the other these enemies like despawn up here. It's just like 1 knight and like few crawlers, but I ran past everything here to regroup with the 4 marines down here, and here's where the fun starts. So we have a lot of enemies to begin with. First thing first, I grabbed this railgun down here to give it to one of my marines who have only like an assault rifle or a pistol, just to give him more firepower. I give the other marine who has an assault rifle, give him a light rifle, because a light rifle actually does damage to a Forerunner, believe it or not. So some funny stuff happened. I actually got railgunned by the guy I gave a railgun to before, which was actually pretty funny, and I ended up dying and got a little bit mad.
Shoutouts to Mankey taking 50 minutes to clear Courtyard and enemy.
I said go ham, and not God.
You appear to have died.
But I think I spent around like 5 or 6 minutes here before I finally, everything started clicking. The Watcher died pretty fast, the Crawlers were dying, the Knight died after I started nading him, and that was the first half of Uphill done. Now the second half, which was supposed to be the harder half, because 3 Knights spawned, 2 Watchers spawned that spawned in turrets, and more Crawlers spawned. So I hit the load to spawn them in, and I was clueless on what to do for the longest time. So what I ended up doing, the strat that I ended up finding working, was to spam 2 nades at the start, just distract the Knight, run up to the right side, and wait for the this watcher to spawn in this turret, melee this turret, so one of the turrets die, then go all the way to the back to melee this knight when he spawns in. And I actually got very lucky on one of these runs where the Marines actually killed almost everything, and I ended up keeping all 4 Marines alive. Now it looks like that looks pretty easy, but I promise you it was not. I spent a little bit of time here just getting right. I got super lucky, and I got extremely lucky that all 4 of my Marines survived. If you know anything of the Halo 4 speedrun, if your Marines are alive, it makes Holdout clear very easy because your Marines will get on turrets and actually just demolish everything. So I unlocked Cortana and I just started backsmacking all the knights while my Marines shot every crawler, and Holdout actually went pretty smoothly. I think I died a couple times because knights just wouldn't be able to backsmack, normal Halo 4 things. That was pretty much it for Holdout. I repulled Cortana. I tried to bully this Marine into coming with me because, Marines will help, and I actually pushed him through the door, and he despawned right in front of my eyes, and I was really sad and mad. So that means I had to do the evac clear all by myself, and it did not go well. I think I was very, very mad on this clear. The first thing I did first was to throw a nade down the middle, kill any grunts down the middle. I think I got 1 or 2. I ran to the right to backsmack this carbine jackal, and I ended up getting a checkpoint right there, which was probably a good checkpoint. Then I dropped my auto sentry, and I think I waited here for 5 or 6 minutes just for my auto sentry to clear everything. Then the phantom came. So if you don't know what that means, the phantom comes, drops off more enemies, and then those are the set of enemies that you have to kill, and then they're done with evac. Here's the thing. It spawns 2 shotgun knights, and scattershot knights are not a thing you want to deal with. I thought I was playing a horror game. Like, if you watched back my stream, I was getting chased by these shotgun knights just back and forth, and they can one-shot you. I was like peeking corners and they were just there. I was peeking corners and they were there and there and there, and there was nowhere I could run and hide. I didn't know what to do. It was really scary, and it was like I was playing a horror game. The strat I ended up doing, which was getting very lucky, was to bait these 2 grunts to come up these caves. I would melee the grunts to get sticky grenades and try to sticky one of the scattershot knights. That did work, but I just kept on dying. After a couple, I think 20 or 30 minutes, I actually got lucky where one of the knights actually teleported up here. I was able to backsmack him, and I thought I was safe, so I ran away to try to get a checkpoint, and when I came back, the other watcher came and respawned the knight. So I was screwed again, but I kept pushing through. I kept grinding. I killed one of the scattershots knight by a lucky backsmack, and I tried to spawn camp the watcher so he didn't respawn the knight again. He never came. I came over, backsmacked the other scattershot knight, which is lucky, and I got another check, which means I just have a few jackals, a few grunts, and 2 knights and a watcher to deal with. Oh, you're thinking that's pretty easy. Nah, it was not. So I had a auto sentry down to distract all the other covenant, and I was just nade spamming. I ended up getting the watcher dead, which was very lucky by sticking your nades, and I just nade spammed this last night, and I finally got done with evac, and I dropped my controller and accidentally shot. With that being said, since I shot, the rules in zero shot, if you accidentally shoot, you just revert the last checkpoint. So I had to do that whole clear again with killing the 2 knights, the watcher and the jackals in covenant. It was not fun, but I ended up finally doing it, and I finally beat evac, which is the first half of the mission. So I had another half of the mission to go. The second half of the mission, the thing we do in speedruns is we run to the left side here to jump on these rocks and to skip another load, which despawns all these vehicles, all these fuel grunts, everything here, and we can just run over here to this Wraith. And what we do is we just take the Wraith and we go into this elevator. And now we get to the next part of the clear, which I didn't know what to do. The strat ended up being was taking the Wraith, splatter both elites or try to the best, and just wait for my Marines or the Spartan 4s to take down everything except for the 2 hunters. I was being really cocky too, and I even said if it's just the 2 hunters alive, I can take them down. So it was just the 2 hunters alive. I went to go take one down, and I got backsmacked, and that was what I get for being cocky. But I am doing it again. 2 hunters were alive. I actually took them down this time. It was kind of like a Dark Souls boss, honestly. You just have to figure out their way, their melee, and just dodge their melee and then melee in their back. And after about like 10 or 12 melees, they finally died. So that was that clear done, which actually wasn't that bad, I thought. And then someone in my chat asked me, how are you gonna get through this door? Because you have to blow it up the mantis or shoot rockets at it. And I was like, oh, this is our first part where I'm like, how do we do this? So we ended up figuring out that you can just get into the mantis and stomp the door open, which is absolutely hilarious. So we stopped the door open, and I walked out with my mantis, and then I got right out to go into this little hallway that not a lot of people actually know about. So I ran up top, ran down low, and ran up to this fuel grunt, melee this fuel grunt to kill him, and I just ran on the outside, this is the legendary route. If you never watched the Halo runs like Legendary IO, this is the route you take. It was pretty safe, and we got into the elevator at the end, and I have made it to end fight. Personally, I thought infight was gonna be a breeze. I was wrong. So we started out with infight, and I was trying different ways. I was trying to melee the jammers, like get up close and personal, melee the jammers, and that just was not working. The goal was like, we're trying to get the jammers destroyed as fast as I can, so the guns will actually start killing the Covenant. And I thought the guns kill the Covenant pretty fast, but they do not at all. I'm trying to keep them here. Turret, please. So I was trying to melee the jammers, and I got 2 done, and then I just died. So the strat ended up being, as I had 3 nades, so I threw 2 stickies at 2 jammers, and threw a frag at the 3rd jammer. Then I got a checkpoint, so that was all 3 jammers dead, all 3 turrets up, and then that just starts the wave. So now we're in a pickle. So now I don't know what to do. So the strat I ended up doing was I just camped in this little, like this little cubby hole underneath the turret, and I think I waited there for I think it was like 34 minutes. My math could be wrong. It's just off the top of my head. I think it was like 30 minutes or something for the guns to kill everything. And they were killing everything. And at like the last 2 enemies, the elite actually found my cubbyhole, came up behind me, and I was trying to jump out of it, and I couldn't, and he killed me. So that was a 34-minute revert, and I got very mad. That's 34 minutes that was down the drain, and I had to do the start of the clear again. So I was getting really impatient, so I ran up to another cubbyhole, and I was hoping that these rockets kill everyone. They do a little bit, but they take so long. So I got to the point where there was like 6 or 7 enemies alive, and nothing was done. I think the turrets just stopped shooting. The rockets weren't doing anything. I was waiting there for 10 minutes, and nothing died. So my next strat was to get into the mantis, and there was so many field rod grunts, and I got stuck a couple times, but I ended up just stomping everything to death. With that being said, I pressed the button, and Affinity was finally done. After an hour and 52 minutes and 28 seconds, Affinity was done. And that means we're halfway done with the game at 2 hours and 25 minutes and 42 seconds. Okay, Reclaimer being next, which is like everyone's favorite mission to speed run. If you know, this level has been done pacifist many times. Zero shot many times. It's a very easy mission to do pacifist. Very easy mission to do zero shot. We start out with just sitting on the mammoth, and you just wait pretty much a minute. We're gonna grab the jetpack over here and then slide downwards. We're gonna run to this right, jetpack up this mountain, and we're gonna run down here, grab this AA target locator, locate the turret, and we're just gonna wait here until it blows it up. As soon as it blows up, we're gonna get into the ghost here. And we're going to drive all the way to these core sections. So what I did here was I blew up 1 core with my ghost, rammed it, and then I clipped through this Covenant shield with my ghost, ran all the way down here to hit the load, and then ran back to get my ghost, and to drive all the way to the 2nd AA turret. Jetpacked up this mountain once again, shot the AA turret, and then I jetpacked right on to this lich. As soon as I got on the lich, I ran to the back and started meleeing to death, which it took a lot of melees, more melees than I was anticipating actually. But as soon as it was dead, I got into the ghost. As soon as it was dead, I got into the ghost and drove away. I jetpacked up this mountain once again and started jetpacking across this cliff, and jetpacked up this little mountain again. There's so many mountains for jetpacking. I ran over here to go to Sniper Alley, hit the load to spawn every enemy in, that's the only load you hit. So I ran back, and then I jetpacked up this mountain once again, and to go around the Sniper Alley, and this wall right here is actually not solid, so you can just run through it, and that's pretty much Sniper Alley dealt with. And now we're in the elevator. So I jetpacked up this elevator. See, I didn't say mountain this time. Jetpack up this elevator to get out of bounds, and I started jetpacking across. And now we're in this next room, and we put Katana in the system, trying to get sucked in, and we run across and hit the Librarian cutscene, which is like a 10-minute cutscene, but we opt out watching it. We pull Katana from this terminal, we jetpack to the left and go around all these enemies to flank them around, and we go down this elevator. We run through this portal. I asked this Marine to get out of his Warhawk nicely. I gave him a thanks by punching him. Used the Warhawk to go up this cliff, and I jetpack up this mountain one more time, get across the shield, and I use this target locator to target the last AA gun, and that is the Reclaimer pretty much done. It's pretty simple. No enemies required. I did Reclaimer in 12 minutes and 9 seconds, which is a little bit better than an hour and 52 if you ask me. Next up is Shutdown. Pretty easy mission again. You get into this Pelican at the start, and I pretty much just fly straight to the end, because you don't have to do the other 2 towers. You can just fly straight to the 3rd tower. As soon as I get to the 3rd tower, I go up the lift, line myself up for this launch, and launch across. And that is pretty much Shutdown done. All we have to do is go up this other lift, fly the Banshee straight to the end, and that is Shutdown done. And now we're just waiting to this elevator for the end for Katana to stop freaking out. And that is that is Shutdown done in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Still looking pretty done. We have 2 more missions to go, And now the next mission that has scared me for a while is Composer. Alright, we're gonna start Composer, and this was the last mission that actually worried me because I didn't know how I was gonna complete it. There's so many sections that actually scared me. I should have focused at this start. This start was incredibly hard. I didn't know what to do. I was unplanned. I had grenades, but like I was getting beamed, I was getting sniped, I was getting carbine. I would jump across, get phantom turret. I didn't know what to do. I was really underprepared for Composer. I didn't expect it to be this hard. So what I ended up doing is I would nade everything and try to stick this jackal. As soon as I did that, I would run across, and as fast as I can, I would hit the button to close the shield and then run back as fast as I can so the phantom turret didn't kill me. And he's killed me a couple times and it pissed me off. But I finally got lucky enough the phantom turret actually didn't kill me. So I ran up these stairs in this next room and I kind of baited the sword elite to run up the stairs. And as soon as he ran up the stairs, I backstabbed him and now I have a sword. Just like that, I sorted the other elites, the other 3 elites that came here. Still wasn't easy. And then the next door finally opened. And this next area was incredibly hard. I spent so long here. The main goal here was to nade jump up top, but there's like 2 jackal snipers that you have to kill because if you go for the nade jump, they hit you every single time. And to top it off, there's another plasma turret that just kills every single time. It is so hard. But I ended up getting finally lucky enough where I finally killed the majority of everything. I went for the nade jump, and since you don't get a checkpoint in this room, I failed it not once, not twice, but 3 times. So I had to revert the whole time again and do this whole clear again. But I finally got lucky enough and I finally hit this nade jump to get past this section. It was brutal. In the next section we have 2 hunters here, and just like I said, 2 hunters is pretty easily. You just Dark Souls boss them where you just dodge their attacks and just melee behind, and 2 hunters were pretty much dead. We're going to go to the next section, which is pretty much outside. If you don't know the speedrun route, we just jump out of bounds here and to stay out of bounds for first airlock. We'll come back in bounds here. We'll hit this door load to come back in here, and then this next section was actually kind of hard, but I backsmacked this elite here, throw a nade at these like little covenant here, and throw a nade at these covenant here, and then backsmack this elite over here, and that should be everything dead. I actually run in this little room that I didn't know about, grab some nades, and grab an auto sentry, which is gonna be useful for me for infight. So what I do after I grab the auto sentry, I ran up to the top, I nade jumped back out of bounds to skip the second airlock. I'll get teleported back in bounds. I just have 2 elites to deal with, and they're pretty easy to backsmack. These guys have kind of like brain dead AI, so it's pretty easy just to backsmack and kill them. So after that, we'll pull Katana out of the system, backsmack these 3 covenant over here, including Jackal Sniper, and this section, this little hallway section, took so long to do. I tried to kill everything, I tried to run past everything, and it's just almost hard. I got out of bounds before jumping on this rock, and I went to jump, and I got stuck in solid space, so I couldn't move, so I was forced to revert. So I knew that strat wasn't gonna work, because usually you have a thruster back, and that just wasn't gonna work. So my strat ended up being is, I remember my lasso route that I went to the other side, and I went to this like little outside area on the thing where no enemy can see you. So I did that for the first time. It was working pretty well, and I jumped up, and as soon as everything despawned, 3 needles followed me, and they super combined me. Even though the door was deloaded and they were dead, I still died, and I was really frustrated. But the second time I attempted it, it went better, and I used auto sentry to distract them, and I went for it, and I got it. Alright, so quick thing to note is I'm gonna pick up this laser over here, and the only reason why I did that is because if I accidentally drop my controller, that if I do shoot, it doesn't shoot, it just does a little like tinker. But now we're in fight, which I thought would be physically impossible for Composer, and I have good reason to, but we're not gonna get there. We'll get there at the end, and I'll explain why. The first section, I didn't know what to do. I tried hijacking a ghost and then just splatter and everything, but a legendary, you're just so weak, and there's so many fuel grunts and EMPs, everything it just wouldn't work. I tried to get into a mantis and stomp and everything, and same thing, you're just so weak without being able to shoot. So the strat ended up being auto sentry. I think I played 5 to 6 minutes here and just auto sentry everything. A ghost came by, guess what? I auto sentry him to death. It took about 6 or 7 auto sentries, so just waited, but he eventually died. I went into this little outside here, and I got the another wave prompt, which means wave 2 is coming, and I got a checkpoint. So I was pretty nervous here because I didn't want another wave until every enemy was dead. So I'm combining a bit of first wave and the second wave together, and I didn't know what to do here. Fortunately, this phantom did get dropped off. This Wraith got stuck a little bit, so the elite had to hop out. It's scripted to do that, and this guy has an energy sword, and since he was in the Wraith to begin with, his energy sword is 100%, so it end up killing him, and I have 100% injury sword now. Deal with all these other enemies. But with the another wave, 2 Field Rod elites get dropped off, along with like 6 more grunts. So I was actually pretty nervous on what to do. After I killed that elite, I did get a checkpoint. So I struggled to figure out what I was gonna do. The strat ended up being was to run to this right side where these other 2 ghosts get like dropped off. I sorted the ghosts as soon as I spawned, so now I have 2 fresh ghosts to just deal with. And I took the ghost, and fortunately for me, that Wraith that was like flipped, elite hopped out. The 2 Field Rod guys ended up hopping into the Wraith, and I just went to behind them and killed the Wraith. So I got very extremely lucky there. The 2 Field Rod guys were dead. And as soon as I did that, I got my another checkpoint, which means my Banshees were coming in. And if you don't know what that means the last wave is here, and the quota for everything in this wave is to kill 3 Banshees. And if you don't know, you can't kill Banshees on 0 shot because they're in the sky, and this is why I thought it was impossible, and this is where a majority of my time was spent. It was just me thinking, what the hell am I gonna do? So fortunately for me, it seems like one is scripted to always come your way so you can hijack it, which means that 1 out of 3 Banshees are considered dead, but the other Banshees will always stay in the sky. So I would get 1 Banshee, but I was just so confused on what to do with the rest. I tried to get in my Banshee, ram the other Banshees. It does damage to them, but I could just never kill them before I started dying. I tried getting out of the Banshee, like mid-air to hijack another Banshee, but I just kept dying doing that. There was just nothing I could do. And then I spent 30 or 40 minutes just peeking around the corner using my auto sentry to damage the Banshees, and it was working, but I couldn't kill 1 after 30 or 40 minutes, and it was really frustrating. I ended up getting lucky and getting a second hijack here after like 30 minutes, and another Banshee was low. My Banshee, or my auto sentry was shooting at it, and I thought I was gonna complete it, and I ended up dying and got revert about 40 minutes to the start of the Banshee wave, and I was really frustrated. And just right when I was gonna give up, oh, shit. What was that? Another Banshee collided with another Banshee, and those 2 killed each other, and that wasn't the Banshee that I scripted that you can hijack, so I hijacked another Banshee, and I ended up being all 3 Banshees. But one final flaw is the driver that I hijacked stayed alive, so I had a Banshee. So technically, the driver that I had stayed alive, so technically that only counted as 2 Banshees dying, so I had to do some commando mode where I took the Banshee, I tried to splat at him, but I missed, so I tried it once more time, missed again, got out, and thankfully he threw a sticky nade, so I was able to sword him. I hit under the bridge, and I got my checkpoint. Poser was finally done, and I killed the 3 Banshees, which I thought was physically impossible. It was so much, it was just so difficult. So I got into the elevator, put Katana in, and just waited for the minute elevator ride. Finally hit the button to finish level, and it took an hour and 47 minutes and 51 seconds to finish Composer. It was just brutal. With that being said, we're just 1 mission away from being able to complete this, and it's just now left on midnight. Another challenge that I had to face on the way is how was I going to destroy the midnight cores? Once you get to the end of the flying section for midnight, you have these 5 cores that you have to normally shoot. So the first thing I tried was ramming the cores, and surprisingly that worked. So all I had to do was wait for my shields to go up and just ram each core, and that was flying section done. That was the big concern about this mission. Already done. This next section, or this first room, there's 4 watchers, and I think I was just fatigued or I was just tired, but I was very annoyed with this room. I could not get past it. I think I spent about 10 or 12 minutes here just trying to kill these 4 watchers. They kept flying above me, so I couldn't melee them, and it was just pissing me off. But eventually I was able to melee the watchers and move on to the next section. This next section, these knights are kind of scripted to spawn this watcher here, so you can just backsmack this knight, backsmack this watcher, and this other knight, I just got lucky and backsmacked him, got another checkpoint. And this next section is just get lucky here. I eventually got lucky and ran past everything and ran down this elevator, and now onto this next section. I run through this portal, and there's 5 crawlers here. Only 4 of them have to die. I threw a post cross map, backsmacked the other 2 crawlers, and got all these crawlers dead. And I went through this next portal, and this next portal is pretty easy if you know the route to take. You just run down the straight little line, and you just run through the portal here. And now we're in armor, and armory has a hammer, so I have a hammer. And if you know anything about zero shot, I can use the hammer to swing at enemies, so it's absolutely amazing. I picked up a hammer, got replenished on my grenades, and went through the portal after armory. This next section, I backsmacked this knight here who's just turned around. I waited a second to get the checkpoint, and I ran all the way across and all the way around to get to this next portal, and then we get to Brawler Alley, which I forgot existed, and I knew this was gonna be a problem. I just hammered this knight and this watcher and these couple crawlers and put Katana in the system, and now we're on a timer. It's not the start that worries me, it's picking up Katana, but I have to run down this like little hill here to make the holdout section a little bit faster. So I run down here, I try hammering all the crawlers, I put my auto sentry down, it just nothing works. Nothing was working. I just kept dying and dying and dying. It was just super brutal. Eventually I got very lucky to the point I finally survived after using like 8 or 7 hammer swings. I would just predict these next crawler spawns with a sticky grenade, which I missed, but I ended up hammering them, and then I ran back to go get Cortana, and I think I did this section 4 or 5 times, and I finally got a checkpoint here right before I picked Cortana, so I didn't have to restart this crawler alley every single time. Picked up Cortana, and this next section, it was super hard to run back, but I finally got lucky enough where I put down my auto sentry, and they were focused on the auto sentry. I got my shields back, and I ran through the portal, and that was crawler alley done, and now what was left was just the 2 towers, and this challenge was finally completed. I landed the 2 towers, pick up the pulse nades, put Cortana in the system, and the epic music starts coming in. I go over to the right side, which is crawler tower. I backsmack these 2 crawlers and do a nade jump up top, wait for the checkpoint, I get it, I put my auto sentry down and jump up top, and I let my auto sentry pretty much do most of the work. I backsmack some crawlers, I come back down to get my shields back, and I end up getting another checkpoint. So halfway done with crawler tower, she got another checkpoint. But that was the easy part. The hard part was coming up where I had to kill this incineration knight, and it was not easy at all. So, put my auto sentry down again. I was running after this knight, and I ended up dying a couple times because incineration cannon is just OP. So the next attempt, I killed this watcher, finally backsmacked this knight, but another watcher came up from another knight down below, and the watcher revived the incineration knight, so I had to kill him again. But fortunately, I was just able to hammer him because I had enough. Killed the last of the watchers, and that was crawler tower finally done. So now it was just knight tower that was left off. So I run to the second tower where you can just pretty much just jump up top and then run past everything. It's pretty simple. And I run down below into this grab lift. I go into knight tower, backsmack this knight right here, wait for a checkpoint. And as soon as I get the checkpoint, I grenade up top, run up top to these 2 knight spawns. I backsmack them, and then I backsmack these other 2 knights, and now it's just a scatter shot knight and this incineration knight. And I think 2 or 3 times I was ready to backsmack them. I hit the backsmack button, and they didn't die. They either killed me right after or teleported away. Every single time I tried to backsmack them, they just would not die. But eventually I got lucky enough where I just finally were able to spawn kill them, backsmack them, and that was Night Tower. 100% done. Put Cortana in the system. A Didact cutscene plays where he just kills Arizona for whatever reason. As soon as I unplug Cortana, I wait for a checkpoint up here, and now it's just me and 3 knights separate from me from completing this challenge, and I have no hammer swing, unfortunately, so that would mean I would have to kill these 3 knights with just melees, and it was brutal. I ended up killing 1 knight and then running back because I thought this grab lift was still activated, but it was actually just like a hoax. So I got a checkpoint mid-sprint off a map, so I had a double revert here because there was nothing I could do, which was actually kind of funny. So I learned from my mistakes. I backsmacked the first knight and then ran back and didn't go off the grab lift. Still got the checkpoint, so now it was just me and 2 knights, and these 2 knights were brutal, but I finally had enough courage to do it, and I backsmacked these 2 knights. And that is the challenge completed. I run up top, activate the Didact cutscene, do the quick time event, and that was the challenge completed. That was midnight done in 41 minutes and 25 seconds. That was the whole challenge done in 5 hours, 11 minutes, and 57 seconds. This was brutal, but this is the first ever completion in the world. If you want to see the full 5-hour VOD, the link will be in the description to watch it. Just show the full completions there. A lot of reverts happened, a lot of swearing happened, so just watch it. It was a brutal challenge. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure this won't be the last challenge I ever attempt, but this was fun, I'm not gonna lie. It was brutal for the most part. It was fun to see all the Halo like aspect and all the Halo like tricks that I learned over the years finally be able to be used in a run where it's based off what you know about the game. And me speedrunning Halo for over 6 years now, Halo 4 mainly, it was fun to finally be able to use all these tricks and skills that I learned into one run. So with that being said, that is the game done. And if you want to suggest other challenges or even just hang out with me and my editor Trouble, shout outs to Trouble for editing this video. It wouldn't be possible without him. But if you want to hang out with me and Trouble, make sure you join the Discord in the link below and the description. We'll always talk there. We'll be open to challenge ideas. I will attempt them anytime. And if you want to see any more challenge ideas or me attempt any stupid challenges, make sure you follow my Twitch down below. It's going to be in the description. Make sure you follow Trouble's Twitch down below too. It's also going to be in the description. But I'm always open for challenge ideas. We're always open for future content. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. Make sure you join the Discord down below, and you guys have a very, very, very good rest of your day.